I'm Kate Ward, and this is your Dippin' Farms Smart Gardening Tip. And actually, we're here in the veggies, and we're talking soil temperature today, because that is something that you can actually either make or break a vegetable garden, or at least really slow you down and have a little bit of a disappointment overall. And when I talk soil temperature, I mean just like that. Just like you put a thermometer in a casserole and see kind of maybe where it is, the same idea applies to soil temperatures. There is something that says, I want to grow at this temperature or I do not. So you might have ever heard of cole crops. So those are things like this broccoli, for instance. Broccoli, cauliflower, cabbages, those are all part of the cole crops. Not cold, but it's a good way to remember that some of these plants actually really do like cooler soil temperatures. Well, what does that mean? That means that they're gonna do just fine in the 40s. So if we were to plant these right now, it's actually early May, they would do just fine. What else would do just fine? Things like lettuces. They do great. Now up to a certain point, if we were to start these as seeds, they would also do well and take off much before anything like these guys, which are tomatoes, peppers, the melons, things like that. What's the difference? It's how they are, quote unquote, able genetically raised. So they grow in different areas where when their germination period is, it's cooler, so they get going. When it's these guys, it's warmer and they get going. That said though, if I were to put a tomato seed in cold soil, it's not gonna do anything. The same thing actually kind of happens with a tomato plant. If I were to put a tomato plant in 40-degree soil, what often happens is this plant isn't set out to do that. It doesn't want to work at those temperatures. This plant wants to work in the 60s. So when you put it in 40-degree soil, what happens is it actually can't absorb the nutrients it needs. Often it has trouble with phosphorus, and that said, it'll actually kind of turn purpley. And it's relative, the peppers, so let's see, I have a pepper around here somewhere. I lost it. Well, okay, I don't have a pepper here somewhere. That said, and their relatives, the peppers, will do the same thing. And very often they don't recover from that because when they were babies, they had a nutrient deficiency and they didn't recover. So you could take and buy your plants now, get them ready, put them in pots, put them in a window, make sure you get where you want. But on things like tomatoes and peppers, melons, those kinds of things, you actually want to wait. And you're thinking, I'm losing time. Well, no, you're not. Actually, by waiting those just a couple of weeks closer to the end of May on plants like this, what you're gonna get, you're gonna catch up. In fact, you could surpass anybody that may have planted early. Now, things like lettuces and these cooler guys, they actually like and will move at those cooler temperatures. So plants in the 40s, 50s, your low 60s, so your peas, you could get out and germinate those. They do wonderfully in 60-degree soil temperatures. These guys are gonna do great. They're really gonna get moving. So make sure you're kind of paying attention to where you're planting, how warm it is out. A good way to figure is if we've had about a week of 60-degree weather now, your soil temperature is finally getting up there. Soil has a nice buffering capacity, so it's gonna take a while to get those soil temperatures up. So even though we might have had 3 weeks of 60-degree ambient temperature during the day, if it was getting down in the 40s at night, on average, we're not getting heat consistently high enough to increase the soil temperature. So pay attention to your weather forecasts. On these guys, just wait a little bit and you'll be much more successful and you'll get the reward of bigger plants faster when it's just a little warmer if they need it. So, it's been your Dippin' Farms Smart Gardening Tip. Come in and see us if you have any questions. See you soon.